If they asked me, I could write a book about the way you walk and whisper and look.
Joining us now are two men who have written a really interesting book, hopefully helpful to many people. It's called Staying Sharp, 9 Keys for a Youthful Brain Through Modern Science and Ageless Wisdom. We're joined today by Dr. Henry Emmons and also Dr. David Alter on the telephone today. Gentlemen, good to talk with you. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Doing fine.
Yeah, good to have a chance to chat with you for a couple of minutes here, and had a chance to kind of look through the book briefly. I only got it last night, but just from what I've read so far, I think you're going to make a lot of people happy because everybody's concerned, obviously, with all types of health, but particularly mental health as you get older. So talk a little bit about, first of all, how'd you guys, did you know each other before you wrote the book?
Yes, we've been friends for literally more than 25 years. And throughout that time, I've shared an interest in brain health and mental health, and most importantly, what it is that we can do to help people take care of themselves. So the book is an outgrowth of that quarter century of connection between each other.
How did you get together to put this particular project together? To say, this would be a good idea for a book at this time, or what was the process of doing that?
Well, we have been talking, meeting together, having dinner together, brainstorming for several years, and we kept coming back to this notion of neuroscience and how can we translate some of these really exciting new findings that we're both passionate about, and how can we distill what's in the science, make it more accessible, and then help people use that information to really make good, healthy changes in their lives, particularly as they age.
I had a chance to talk to a couple of different authors who have written books on, I guess, neuroplasticity. Is that the right term, about how the brain can almost, I guess, reshape itself as you get older, or it doesn't necessarily have to atrophy? So I know you talk about that in the book as well. So is that a pretty new science that kind of a lot of breakthroughs are coming through right now?
I think it's that we are discovering what our brains have always been able to do, and that is to change its shape, to change its connections in response to life experience. So it's not a fixed organ. It's not as if it is reaches a certain pattern and that's what you're stuck with the rest of your life. The new science is showing how hungry our brains are for new experience, and what that new experience does is constantly rewire and reconnect the brain in new ways. That's why to us it's so important that we be focused and aware about the kind of choices we make, because what we feed our brains is the shape our brains will then take on. When you feed it the kind of 9 keys that we talk about, you'll get one response different than if you fed it a whole different kind of lifestyle.
You're talking about, feeding, I know, has different connotations, but actually what you eat has an effect on the brain, right? You talk about certain foods that'll help. So there's some truth to that, right? What you eat helps your brain.
Undoubtedly. There's a lot of aspects of diet that can be harmful to the brain, and then there's other things we can do that are actually protective or even healing. For the sake of this conversation, we'll just focus on 2 really simple, straightforward things people can do. The first is to reduce the amount of sugars or simple carbs that we eat, because they have such a destructive effect on brain health if your blood sugar is just a little bit elevated. And then the second thing is to try to switch from those calories, those sugar and carb calories, and add in some more healthy fats. We used to think, because we were taught this, that eating fat is bad for you. You should do a low-fat diet. Most people don't believe that's true anymore, especially for the brain. So you need healthy fat. You need to add things like olive oil, nut seeds, coconut oil, avocado, the things that the brain really loves.
I was always told by my mom and my grandparents they ate a lot of fish, and that fish was good for your brain. I guess the fish oils. So there's some truth to that.
That is, I think that your elders were wise people, so they were giving good advice. yes.
You mentioned rest, obviously. Sleep is an important thing. You have a whole, that's one of the 9 keys you talk about, and I guess you see so many people that are sleep deprived or don't get enough rest. That's why they're a little bit out of it, right? So that's a huge thing. People don't seem to, I guess, realize how important sleep is when it comes to brain health.
Well, I think as our culture, one of the values of our culture is that time is money. You don't want to waste time, and so it spills over into the idea that when we're sleeping, we're wasting time or we're being non-productive. And the truth is exactly the opposite, that our brain needs the sleep, good 7-8 hours of sleep each night, to be able to undo the effect of the previous day. It literally washes out some of the waste products that build up in the brain during the day that science says over a course of years build up and makes up the stage for cognitive decline later in life. So we need good sleep to be able to keep the brain fresh, to wash out byproducts, to be able to filter experience, taking out of it what we need to help us be better prepared for tomorrow, and getting rid of the rest. So it's a foundational skill, the skill being developing good sleep habits that opens the door to many of the other 9 keys that we talk about.
Yeah, and exercise, too. I mean, you talk about that. That's one of your keys, being active. The rest of the body being in good shape, obviously that keeps the brain in good shape, right?
You know, when you move your body, you are literally exercising the brain, even though you might not be thinking a great deal. What you do with movement is having a direct impact on the growth of new brain cells, the connection between them, the way the brain communicates. Movement is one of the best things you can do to keep your mood steady and healthy. It's like a miracle drug if you think about it in terms of what it does for the brain. And we use the word movement rather than exercise because it really can be simple. It can be walking. It can be standing up frequently from a sitting position. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the gym and break a sweat, but you do need to move your body because that's what we were designed to do.
Here where we are in Sarasota, Bradenton, obviously we have a large older population, very active for the most part. So I know a lot of people over a certain age do worry about perhaps, Alzheimer's and that kind of thing affecting them. But from your studies, I know you can't prevent everything all the time, but by following these 9 steps, you can ward off a lot of that, can't you?
It certainly puts you on a path that reduces the odds. All of us come into the world with certain genetics, but a lot of the science has shown that just because you have a genetic profile doesn't determine that to be the profile you'll show through the rest of your life. So going back to what we talked about before, the neuroplastic changes that we can make, even if we don't start with them until later in life, can change the pathway that we're on. And our findings are that when you practice this, the earlier you begin to practice this, the better position you are to be able to ward off some of those problems that arise later in life and that so many of the people in your listening area are worried about.
Yeah, well, that's good news. Good to hear. And again, I know we have limited time today, but we just touched on a couple of the 9 keys. Again, the book is called Staying Sharp, 9 Keys for a Youthful Brain Through Modern Science and Ageless Wisdom. We've been talking to both the authors, Dr. Henry Emmons and Dr. David Alter today. And gentlemen, do you have a website you want to direct people to get more information or get the book?
We sure do. It's www.stayingsharp.org.
Great. And we'll also place a link on our website as well for people to get it. But, gentlemen, pleasure talking to you. Great book, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Doug.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.